everyone, thank you for being here today. My name is Sarah Heides and I work with second grade students here in CCSD. Today I'm going to show you a simple reading routine you can use at home to support your child's reading development. Today we are going to be reading a book from HMH, which is CCSD curriculum, called Rabbit's Snow Dance, and you can find this at any public library. We will use a little story, like I said, called Rabbit's Snow Dance, but you can use any book you already have at home. The goal of this routine is to help your child build reading fluency, solve unfamiliar words, and understand what they are reading. This routine will take about 10 to 15 minutes and can be done a few times a week. By the end of the video, you will know how to help your child when they get stuck, support them in figuring out the words, and ask simple questions to build understanding. This is important because in second grade, students are learning to read more smoothly and understand what they are reading. Without practice, students may start to feel frustrated or unsure, but with the support at home, they will build confidence and begin to see themselves as successful readers. Practicing reading at home supports fluency, word solving, and comprehension. When students practice these skills regularly, they are more successful in all of their subject areas, not just in reading. Even just a few minutes a day can help make a difference at home. I am also going to be providing you with a parent checklist that will be sent home with you, and it has a couple of ideas, such as the objective: families will implement a structured reading routine at least 4 times per week, a daily reading schedule, listening to your child read for about 8 to 10 minutes a day, supporting word solving when your child gets stuck, things to do, and there are additional skills such as talk about the story, weekly goals that you can achieve with them, why reading is important and why this matters, and these skills will help them in the future, and how this is a great way for you to build confidence not only in your own home but with your students. Like I said, this is a very simple checklist that you can use at home to help guide you in your structure. This routine has 3 simple steps: listen, help, and ask questions. This will keep things simple so you don't feel overwhelmed. You don't need to be a teacher to do this. Just be present and supportive and be willing to continuously practice this routine daily. Like I said, the book we're going to be reading today is Rabbit's Snow Dance. The first step is you will have your child read out loud to you. Try to let them do most of the reading independently. It is okay if they do make a mistake. That is part of learning how to read. As you listen, pay attention to the words they struggle with, whether they are reading smoothly, whether they understand what they are reading, and recognizing these steps will help you understand what your child can do on their own and where you can support them more. So, if we look at this book, page right here, it says, "One day a rabbit was wishing it would snow." You can just have them sound out a simple phrase like this. If your child gets stuck, try not to give them the word right away. Instead, guide them by using prompts. So, if you look at this parent guide that I have, it will tell you different steps that you can use, and this will be home with you as well. Try that again. Look at the first sound. Let's sound it out together. Break it into parts. So there are different routines that you can use to do this. And like I said, saying little things like try that again, look at the first sound, break it into parts. It gives them more support to become stronger readers. Let's do this as an example. You might say, let's look at the first word, snow. Sn-o-oo. Put it together, snow. This helps your child connect sounds to letters, which is important in reading. For longer words, you can say, let's break it apart. Dancing, dancing. And you can always tap your fingers. Dancing, dancing. You can also try words like jumping or running by breaking them into parts. Breaking words apart helps your child understand how words are built instead of just memorizing them. If your child is stuck, it's okay to tell them the word. Just have them repeat it and then continue reading. The goal is to support them without frustration. After your child reads, ask a simple question like, what happened in the story? Who was in the story? What happened first? Or what do you think will happen next? If a child is unsure, you can help them by giving a sentence starter like, the story was about, what did they do? These conversations help your child build understanding and think about more deeply what they read. So, if we look at this book, it says, one day Rabbit was wishing it would snow. Why? With feet so big that they were like snowshoes, Rabbit could hop right onto the top of the snow and reach much higher into the tree for tasty tree leaves and buds. A question you could ask is, who is the main character? What does Rabbit like to eat? What does Rabbit look like? What is he doing? Why is it important? These are all good questions to ask your students or your child when they're doing this routine. Okay, let's see. The story was about, and then we would tell them it's about Rabbit trying to get his food, right? Here is what it might sound like. You might say, okay, you go ahead and read this part. If your child gets stuck, you can say, try that again. Look at the first sound. Now finish the word. Then respond with encouragement like, yes, you got it. Keep it going. One day, Rabbit was wishing it would, what's this word? And they could say, snow. And he would say, ooh, great job. Let's try that one more time. And then as you keep reading and every time they say the word successfully, you can always make sure that you're being positive and reinforcing those skills with positive reinforcement. If your child does get stuck, you can say, try that again. Look at the first sound. Now let's finish the word. Then respond with encouragement like, yeah, you got it. Keep going. You can also encourage your child by saying things like, good job, keep going, or keep trying. That's all that matters. Encouragement helps build confidence and keeps your child motivated. Now, this is something you can always do at home. This might look like sitting together after school, reading a short book, helping with a few words, and asking a question at the end. It doesn't need to be long or perfect, just consistent. And again, if you go back to your checklist here, it will tell you that it can be done in multiple languages, why it helps you, how many times a week you can do it. It can also tell you at the top that you should be doing this for 10 to 15 minutes daily, at least 4 times a week, to help them build that fluency. Remember, by listening, helping, and asking questions, you can aim to do this about 4 times a week. This routine can be done in any language. If your child is more comfortable in your home language, you can talk about the story in that language to support understanding. You can also connect the story to your family experiences, traditions, or daily lives to make reading more meaningful and engaging. By using this simple routine, you are helping your child become a stronger and more confident reader. Even a few minutes a day does make a huge difference. You don't have to do it perfectly. What matters is most important is that you're spending time and supporting your child. So just to give you another example of what this may look like on the whole page, you would look at this and say, one day, Rabbit was wishing it would snow. Why? With feet so big that they were like snowshoes, Rabbit could hop right on the top of the snow and reach much higher into the tree for tasty leaves and buds. The only problem was that it was summertime, and as everyone knows, it is not supposed to snow in the summer. Rabbit, though, was impatient. I want snow, he said. I want it, I want it, I want it right now. So one of the questions you could ask is, why was Rabbit so impatient? Why was he excited for summer or for winter? Why was he excited that he could play in the snow? Why was he impatient? And Though they may not know what the word impatient means, explain it to them. It's a great conversation starter. What can Rabbit do to prepare? And as you read the story, you will go along and say, oh, well, Rabbit can learn how to think about why it's important to be patient, why we can't always get what we want. And ask follow-up questions. What was your favorite part of the story? Why did Rabbit act like this? Does this remind you of a time that I acted like this? Does this remind you of a time you acted like this? And again, this routine helps build fluency, strengthens phonics skills, improves understanding of what students read, and if they read it in school, they will feel more confident. Now, like I said, you can do this 4 times a week, just 10 to 15 minutes a day, and this will help build all those important skills in school. Thank you so much for your time and supporting your child's reading at home. Again, this is Mrs. Hyde Hughes. Have a great day.